Time to do some sketchy shit. Doo-dah, doo-dah. Hope I get away with it. Oh, da doo-dah day.
Hi there, folks. I'm Dan Hollifield. This is Last Man Standing. We may not be running for very long tonight, but that's all right. We've already put in a full stupid o'clock, and it was a lot of fun, and you should go watch it. And with me right now for just a little while probably is Joe Dog McKeel. And
Yeah, but go watch it after this show is over. Right?
right.
Watch this one, then go watch that one.
Oh, and Joe
David,
Dog.
I got a question to ask you about your theme music.
Yeah.
Is that sax keyboard, or were you actually tooting the horn?
That's all in the computer. It's recordings of real instruments,
Okay.
but they're basically just did it, and all those are separate recordings, and I piece it together to make it
Okay.
the way I like.
Okay.
Now there are 3 albums over on my Bandcamp that I am playing bass guitar on. I've got about maybe 3 more albums of me and the garage bands where I'm playing uh, bass or um, lead guitar or keyboards or some kind of funky synthesizer that I made out of guitar effects pedals. That was a fun day. I'm glad the neighbor lady wasn't home because I had the volume turned up pretty loud for that one. Um,
I was just wondering, I'd like to have some table music when we're out promoting.
yeah.
Uh, sort of the haunted, creepy Midnight Syndicate.
Hmm.
Something like that.
Something like that cut that I've got Opera Ghost, but more smooth jazz rather than me trying to learn how to play an organ.
Well, not jazzy, but well, look up Midnight Syndicate. Listen to a little bit of their stuff.
Okay, I'll see what I can do. I mean, I can't do things note for note. I
Yeah,
have to
well,
work with I have to work with the pre-recorded instruments that I've got, but I've got a lot of them.
yeah,
And
but it's well,
well, for the people that don't know, why don't you just give us a quick rundown on what is Hallowcon and why they need to attend?
uh, well, I'm looking up something real quick. Sorry. Um, uh, the good Lord.
What?
One of their library is 373 videos.
It's about as big as ours.
Let me get through this. All right. This is Midnight Syndicate. They don't really push copyright issues.
Hmm.
That's not what I want. I don't want to invite. I want to present. Sort of give you an idea of the sound.
You've got ops here, so you can bring it up yourself.
Yeah. Well, I got to hit play. Bring that up and tell me when you've brought it up.
Okay. Add
Up.
stage. And we'll go full screen with it just in case StreamYard is not doing their stuff right.
Cooperating.
Well, I don't know if they fixed that bug yet or not, but
Yeah.
because we found out about it so early,
Yeah.
to go ahead and hit play.
All right. Can you hear that?
Just barely.
Well,
Sounds
that's
like
all I
some
can do.
sounds like some haunted house stuff that I used to do.
Yeah.
Um,
Let me bring it back.
and some Twilight Zone.
Yeah. But yeah, that's all I'm willing to risk. I don't want to get you in trouble. They allow haunted houses to play their music royalty free, but this is a different genre. But
A different medium. Yeah.
yeah, something like that. Just the like you said, creepy haunted house stuff.
Um, I might have those sound files still.
If
Been a long
not, if not,
time. I mean, the first time I did it, it was recorded onto an 8-track tape, plugged into the side of a reel-to-reel, and on the wrong speed. I'll let you know how long I've been doing this.
yeah.
That
Well, you
I
you
had
heard the story of of ARS Atlanta Rhythm Section.
now which
Uh,
story?
DJ played the album on the wrong speed, and they thought Imaginary Lover, the town thought Imaginary Lover was Stevie Nicks.
Okay. I'm actually mentally playing that track in my head at the wrong speed.
That will blow you're like, he was playing 45s and he
and
grabbed the album
and didn't change the speed on the
and didn't change
turntable.
on the turntable. And it's like, and he's like, well, damn, that sounds good. I mean, phone lines lit. When
And
did
oh,
Stevie Nicks do a ERS cover? I'll never tell. This is the only time you're ever going to hear it.
Oh,
Yeah, that was wild.
well, at least one of those phone calls wasn't Atlanta Rhythm Section's lawyer going, "What did you just do?"
Well, actually, it was an Atlanta radio station that did it.
Yeah, I'm familiar with Atlanta radio stations.
Thank God it was 2 a.m.
That's when strange things happen.
Yeah.
Like the main reason that Iron Butterfly caught on someplace besides California is a DJ decided he wanted to take a long smoke break,
Yeah.
dropped side 2 of the album on, went outside and let it play, and people heard that for the first time that had never even heard of Iron Butterfly, and all of a sudden started flying off shelves, getting requested. They actually did a radio edit cut that was short enough for radio airplay, especially on college stations, which were mostly low power FM, but they like to play
Mm.
longer cuts of things so that folks could get a better idea of what different bands sounded like.
I have discovered a new guy to watch on YouTube.
Hmm.
His name is Isaac Brown. That's his channel name.
Okay.
He is a current. He's probably not 30 years old. He's a record producer, and he's doing first time reactions to albums.
Okay.
First one I saw that he did was Rumors.
Oh, if you've never heard of
Never
you've
heard
never
of
heard of that band before, that's a good place to start.
And it's like, wow. Of course, he called Christine McVie he. Didn't realize it was a woman. And he goes, oh, she's. Then he was talking about Stevie Nicks singing the Lindsey Buckingham song about their breakup.
Yeah.
He goes, oh, that is so emotional. Did she write that one? Comment section. No, that was her ex-husband that wrote that one.
And he made her sing it as revenge for breaking up with him.
Yeah.
Oh, there was more.
Rumors was a rough. If you knew the story behind Rumors, that was a rough album. I mean, they didn't hold punches.
No, they didn't. No, they didn't. There was more sexual dynamics in Fleetwood Mac than there was in Jefferson Airplane or even Starship.
You mean Airplane?
They did have. They did have.
I remember on the Airplane.
They had 3 different band names.
No,
Yeah.
4.
4?
They were Airplane, Jefferson Airplane,
Oh,
Jefferson Starship, and then Starship.
I didn't realize that Airplane came first.
Yeah.
Okay.
They progressed from an airplane to a starship. Rock on.
Only 3 degrees of separation.
Oh, but yeah. I used to love. I used music used to be a big part of my life.
Mm,
I wanted to become a record producer, but my parents said there's no life in that. No, I don't want to play. I want to be the behind the scenes guy.
yeah, I've
I
always
want to
said
be. I wanted
I've
to
always
be.
said a recording studio was my best instrument.
Yeah. I can't wait till this guy finds Boston.
Oh, I have seen a few reactions to Boston music, and mostly it's how do they do that? Well, they spend a lot of time sitting around in this guy's basement.
I'm waiting for the people. I love the people that go, "Oh, how did they do that on synthesizer? What kind of synthesizer did they use?" A what? Oh, they're using the organ effect on the synthesizer. No, that was Hammond B3.
Yep. Or a Fender with a bunch of effects boxes.
Well, the bird. I forget which song it is that has the bird chirp.
Uh huh.
That's played
Uh,
above the fret,
yeah,
above the upper fret.
that's Eric Clapton, Derek and the Dominoes, Layla.
No, on the Boston album.
Oh, on the Boston album. I'm sorry. My mind went to the other bird chirp. Oh, wait. Okay, that would make mine the other bird chirp.
Of course, there's the free bird chirp.
That was the one I thought of at first, and then I'm going, no, no, Layla. I know exactly how Eric did
Yeah.
that.
It's the interlude between foreplay and long time.
Hmm.
That was good. But yeah, I replied to him back on. He goes, "They don't make music like this anymore. Why don't they make music like that anymore?" I replied back. I said, "Rumors is probably one of the 10 greatest albums ever recorded.
Hmm.
And why don't they make music like that anymore? They don't know how with computers. You, I said, but that could change with you in capital letters. You are a record producer. You can make that music again."
Hmm.
I'm getting likes on that comment.
Um,
All you gotta do is do it.
I got some unfortunate news. I think it was Monday, and I requested that Joe Bachman play a couple of tracks off of two of my actual live playing albums,
Yeah.
and that has stirred up more comments from people, especially in the chat section, uh, than anything. Because it's it was just Jim playing guitar, me playing bass. It's one album is one song, but it's like 7 or 8 different variations on it. The other album is a totally different song, but it's different variations of it. If you listen to it all the way through, you're going to get bored. But if you find the one that you like the best, you can dial it in, play it over and over again as the mood strikes you. But
And
yeah,
sorry for your loss. I
uh,
understand.
well,
Luke.
I just I got to be there for Jim. That's all. Um, greater loss to him than to anyone. So
Did his wife pass away or did he pass away?
his wife.
Oh. Okay.
And they had been married since 82, 83, something like that.
50 years or 40 years.
40 years, yeah. That's the reason why Jim and I stopped being a band, is because she moved off to get her master's degree in computer science, and
He tagged along.
he didn't want to date anybody else. So about a year later, he got a job with Franklin Electronics, and went up there and started writing programming for them. And he and his wife tied the knot, been together ever since. She was 71, and it was a congenital heart defect that by the time it can be diagnosed, it's too late.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
her family's going to be flying in for the memorial service, and we hope the government doesn't get in the way.
is she from another country or?
From one we support.
This week?
Well, has been long term for many years, out in the Pacific, and we just don't know. Neither Jim nor I can even make a guess as to if there's going to be anybody sane in the government at that point in time. That you know, that's exactly why I made the mistake on my retirement account and went ahead and put too much money in it, because I didn't know that they changed the law and I could only put in an amount up to a certain limit equal to what I had made last year. And because I only worked effectively um, 8 weeks of last year. I mean, granted, 5 of it was a vacation, but um, I didn't make that much, and I put what the investment company told me I was allowed to put in. Well, today, after getting my taxes done today, I had to go in and pull out a little bit, just to make sure that I don't run afoul of the Infernal Revenue Service.
Mm.
And he also told me that what I did put in, I should roll it over into a different kind of IRA, and I can't find a way to do that online, so I'm going to have to spend I don't know how many days trying to play telephone tag with these people.
Mm.
I always get the one that is focused on the account I had while I was still working, not the account that I've got now. So we'll work that out as we come. But I've got pretty much the rest of the year to get that money rolled over. I don't know why
Yeah,
the account.
we had some guys retire, right before I left, and they've been banking time. We had, rollover time,
Yeah,
up to 180 days. And, they get down, to like 3 or 4 weeks. Says, well, I'm just going to retire and they can just pay me for my time. Come to find out, if you sold off your time that way,
mm-hmm.
Instead of getting the full pay, they only paid you half.
Rioting in the streets.
Yeah, there were many. One of the reasons it used to be they cut it to 80 days. It used to be unlimited. You could just roll it over. One of the department heads, of a different division, got to looking, and he goes, huh, I've got 368 days of personal leave.
Evil laugh.
Do what?
Cue evil laugh.
Because if you take the personal leave, they can't post your job. Because technically, you're still in that job.
Mm-hmm.
That worked out to like 2 years that he was not even there. And if something crazy happened that they had to call him in,
Overtime.
no. 2-for-1 comp.
Oh.
So it finally worked out that when he ran out of time, he'd not been in his job for 3 years. And they couldn't post his job until he was officially vacated the position. And the city council, or well, city commission at the time goes, that'll never happen again.
Y'all engineered it the first time. Better check carefully before you write in extra loopholes that you didn't realize were there.
So
Well,
they set a limit at 180 days. Well, you take out those Saturdays and Sundays of those 180 days, you're still 9 months.
Yeah. Well, you remember the last year or so before I retired, they wanted to do away with my job entirely. And they couldn't figure out whether to put me back into my last previous position or if they could just try and convince me to go ahead and retire early. They couldn't figure it out. Not even any of the lawyers could figure out. The union stepped in on my side and said, "Look, he's been here for 45 years already. He's just about to retire. He's doing something that he's really good at that you never knew he was good at, and y'all are taking credit for the paperwork he creates. Don't believe it's quite fair to either put him back on the line or punt him out the door." So company and the union got together, signed a waiver, says they can't touch my job until my
You're
retirement
gone.
date, till I'm gone. I sometimes wonder if the people that really needed the paperwork that I generated ever succeeded in getting that job filled by somebody else, because there were 2 or 3 people that were quite willing and already trained, except for the spreadsheets, to do everything. And I had the spreadsheets already written. All they had to do was punch numbers in. It was just data entry. But the actual testing, they already knew how to do. Yeah, it would be nice to know in one way, but on the other hand, I really don't care. Their loss. I gave them damn near half a century. If they couldn't figure out that I was not just somebody sitting in a chair typing all day, then it's all right.
Well, that's what you get for hiring people off the street with college degrees that have no clue what the actual product you make is.
Or how
They're
you go
number
about making
crunching.
it. Yeah, they're just There was one guy. He was a pretty big executive. His college degree was in ceramic pottery. Uh, yeah, you put the insulation in the oven to cure the chemicals out, but that's about the only significant resemblance between creating a flower pot and creating insulation. Well, I've got to go back down the hallway. If you want to monologue for a few minutes, just
Play a commercial.
it's okay. I've got a 3-minute one I can do.
All right.
You might have to go down the hallway too, because there's running water in this one.
Oh, well, I'm good for right now.
Oh, yeah, I wish I was. Well, only needed about half of the intervention there. That Joe
The
Dog
running
decided.
water got to me. I'll be right back.
Don't worry, I'm going to play another ad. In the early days of the Korean War, an underage boy ran away from his family's farm in West Virginia to join the Army. He quickly transferred to the Air Corps and became a fighter pilot. Somehow, he became useful to several alphabet agencies, so he was recruited to help them during the Cold War. Eventually, he got tired of being a spy and tried to retire. Fate had other ideas. These are some of the early adventures of Captain Tom Darby of the U.S. Army Air Corps. From before that fateful night, he rode his motorcycle around a curve too fast on a back road in rural Georgia and accidentally began a new life entirely. Now, the interesting thing about those two ads are I played them in the order the story proceeds in. Disposable Man is the early days of Tom Darby. Abducted is later on in his life. There are other stories, some finished and some begun, about later years of his life that have not seen print yet, but hopefully they will one day. I've got a whole lot going on. I've got another book of spaceport bar stories I've got to write, and then I've got to try and piece together an anthology of other writers from Aphelion's um, take on my spaceport bar. Aphelion is a magazine that I run online and have done for 28 years now. So yeah,
Okay.
that's the way that goes. So if you want to know what order to read them in, Disposable Man, then Abducted. The first sentence of Abducted is the last sentence of Disposable Man. They just flow into one another. It's quite exciting writing spy stories.
So basically, it's like A New Hope and Rogue One into New Hope.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, even though Disposable Man was written afterwards, when I wrote Abducted, I thought it was going to be a standalone story. No more. No more. And then Tom Darby just keeps showing up in all my other damn stories. He's like a cockroach. You can't kill him. Well, for obvious reasons, once you read Abducted.
I need to slow down long enough and let the creative juices flow through my fingers.
Yes, you do. You've got some excellent ideas, but you don't have the patience yet to sit and work them out. You should. We're going to have to Keisha you or thesis you and just keep shouting until you finally say, I'm writing, I'm writing.
What I need is some Adderall.
I can't help you there.
I mean, just something to help me focus.
Strongest thing I've got's Advil. I mean, seriously. Uh,
Uh, to tell you how bad my ADHD is, I was working on my car today. The blower resistor quit working. You know, the thing that makes your fan speed work for your air conditioner.
mm-hmm.
It only would work on high. So I finally, pull the dash apart, get into it. Come to find out, it wasn't the blower resistor, it was the plug had melted.
Had melted?
Yeah, it melted. So it wasn't making connection, which means I had to go find the plug.
A replacement plug, yes.
Thankfully, O'Reilly's had it and I bought it Monday. So I put it in today. When I went to potty, I looked out the back window. My storage building was still open. The light was on. So I go, well, I better go close that up. All my tools were still laying out in the damn yard. So I had to pick those up real quick and just throw them in the building, turn the light off, shut the door.
I've still got to wire up the lights for my barbecue grill. That's going to be a little interesting unless I hire an electrician to come and run me some Romax from an empty slot on the breaker box out through the side wall of the house and over to the barbecue grill.
Let me ask you this. Do I have to crawl under the house?
As far as I know, that's the only way to stuff wires up into the breaker box, and I wouldn't recommend that you crawl under the house because you got a fear of spiders.
Yeah. Call an electrician.
Actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to just get a heavy-duty outdoor drop cord and plug it into the socket on the outside of the house, right next to the back door, and run it across up in the air where I can't hit it with a lawnmower, and wire it up that way. I mean, um, two of the lights already, they have plugs. You can plug them right into a socket. The third one I want to put up, I'll have to wire a plug on it, and I've wired up so many pole lamps and uh, candelabras and things. That shouldn't be more than like 5 minutes work. But, I might have to run a steel cable across from the outside of the house to the outside of the barbecue grill and drill a hole for the drop cord to pass through. But that way, you don't have to worry about the drop cord sagging and doing much anything it shouldn't do. And then when I get through cooking, go back in the house, just unplug it right out of the wall.
I used to do one of my buildings that way for years.
I've done it that way. I've run a real long drop cord from the front porch to the well house to have a incandescent light bulb in there in the wintertime to keep the pipes on the well sticking up out of the ground from freezing. That worked for years.
Yeah, now try to find a damn incandescent bulb.
I got several. Might even can find a heat lamp, but need to replace that well house with something that's a little less like a doghouse, so that I can get in there and actually change the filters and everything without taking the roof off the well house and standing on my head undoing the pipes. I got shut-off valves and everything in the plumbing. I mean,
just get one of them igloo doghouse and just pick it up, set it to the side, or damp one of those rocks, one of those fiberglass rocks that they put over them. Have you seen those?
That ain't big enough. The pressure tank alone sticks up about waist high. I've already got a metal building, and I've got 4 railroad ties to bolt it to keep the wind from blowing the thing away. But I was given a clue by the people that came out and replaced my well pump to make sure that I have a provision to take the roof off the metal building and maybe even unbolt the walls of the metal building from the railroad ties and lay it down so that they can get their crane in there easier and pull out 200 feet of pipe to get to the well pump. But I'm hoping that'll never happen again in my lifetime. They let me watch. They did a really good job making the wires and putting extra spacers in on the pipe so that it didn't scrub the wires against the inside concrete of the well. So yeah, if I can just get it to where the wind won't blow it away and get those railroad ties in the right place. Probably going to have to wear out a couple of chainsaw blades cutting ends off the railroad ties so that it's short enough for the building and not sticking out on one side. I could make it so they're just kind of slotted in there, so got one end overhanging one way, and then one end hanging out the back, and one hanging out the other side, and then one hanging out the front. But that strikes me as being rather unartistic. My wife wants me to do it that way, just so that I don't have to buy more chains for the chainsaw. Got a sharpener. I could probably get fairly long life out of the chainsaw blades, chains. Um,
Uh, well, Dan, I'm just going to say, your Department of Agriculture down there are not the smartest people in the world.
Tell me something I don't know.
We're in a severe drought up here. Okay. We've been having forest fire, wild brush fires
Mm-hmm.
all around us. So to keep their schedule up, the Georgia Department of Agriculture had a prescribed burn today.
Why am I suddenly afraid?
In a span of 15 minutes, it went out of control.
Surprise is not felt.
Had probably one of the most beautiful sunsets I've seen tonight.
Yeah.
It's below Dalton. The wind is blowing from the south, so we're getting all the smoke.
How much property did they destroy?
It's Georgia forest land that's been burning so far. All the farmers are already out clearing, fire breaks at their property line.
They're the only ones that know what to do. Seriously. You can't expect a homeowner to have a tractor and a chisel plow where he can do a fire break around his yard to keep the house from burning up.
It's just sometimes I wonder.
I stopped wondering many moons ago, come Choctaw. When they demonstrate that they're stupid, believe them.
Yeah. Well, I know you're not a big Reagan fan, but I'm a big fan of one thing that he said. The most feared words in the English language. I'm from the government.
From the government. I'm here to help. Yeah.
Well, he nailed it, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he did. I mean, he wasn't stupid, but he didn't like unions. That's the thing that I objected to. Once he started busting up the airport, the traffic control people's union, that gave lots of industries an impetus to try and get rid of the unions that have been protecting workers since the 30s.
Yeah. Of course, one of the stories he told that I just love, it's one of my favorites. He met this little girl, and he knew the parents. They were liberal Democrats. He was a good communicator with kids.
Mm-hmm.
He asked the kid, he goes, well, what do you want to be when you grow up? She goes, I want to be president of the United States. He goes, that's wonderful. What will you do when you become president of the United States? Says, I'll feed all the hungry and give the homeless homes. He goes, okay. Tell you what I'll do. You come over to my house. You weed my yard. You cut my grass. Trim some bushes. I'll give you $50. And we'll go down to the grocery store and give the homeless guy down there the $50. Little girl looked at him and she goes, why don't you get the homeless guy to come up there and do the work and you give him the $50? He said, welcome to the Republican Party. He said, her parents haven't spoken to me since.
Well,
That, you got to admit it does make sense.
well, yeah. Try and find a way to get jobs to the people that need the jobs so that they can have some dignity and provide the life that they want for
Problem is,
themselves.
hey, kids want to start out at the top and not do any of the
Not climbing any of the ladders to get there.
yeah.
I know. I've noticed that too.
I hate to say it, McDonald's is not a career.
There are a lot of places that are not a career, but they are a good training ground.
But they use them as careers.
Yeah. Ambition is a thing that everybody should have.
Of course, we used to have this guy on radio. His name was Wally Wachowski. That was his radio name. That was given to me by, one of the local DJs. Thing about Wally was about 6'7", deep side of 300, and stuttered. Imagine him trying to say Wally Wachowski.
Well, if you made fun of him and you were within reach, that would probably be the only time you made fun of him.
Yeah. There's a story about that too. But Wally had this great philosophy. Starve, damn you. Eating is a great motivator.
Yes, I know. I do know indeed. So there are a lot of other great motivators too.
One thing I learned about kidney stones and soda, sugary sodas. Pain's a great motivator.
Mm-hmm.
This is sugar-free, caffeine-free, calorie-free, sodium-free. I would drink 3 of these a day of Mountain Dew or Meliella.
Yeah.
Till I piss the grape seed or the orange seed that looks like a pineapple.
Yes. Fortunately, my level of intake of these kind of prevents, or at least lessens the risk of me having the miniature pineapples.
Yeah.
But, I wouldn't recommend it as a lifestyle.
Hey, I've passed 2 in my life. Did you hear that?
I heard a click. Is Donna loading the frying pan?
Oh, it sounds like somebody just flattened my mailbox. I'll be right back.
Oh, Lord, that's not good. Oh, folks, yeah. Continuing on in the same vein, um, you may have noticed that I'm not exactly a spring chicken. See, I'll be 68 in November. Um, I grew up on a farm. Went to college till I ran out of money. Got a job in a factory. Worked there for 46 and a half years. Retired. Um, I learned a lot of stuff on the farm, how to work on cars, how to do basic plumbing. I paid attention in school, so I learned how to do really, really, really basic electrical wiring, nothing complicated, but I can fix a lamp or um, hang a chandelier with those nice little uh, candlelight bulbs on it, stuff like that. Um, I can drive a nail. I can saw a board. I can use power tools. My dad was a machinist at Oak Ridge, so you can imagine what I was able to learn from him. I've used a lathe for wood, but never for metal. I learned a little bit of very, very basic welding. Matter of fact, I made myself a sword out of some broken fencing foils from University of Georgia that I got while I was a student. Uh, they were just going to be thrown away.
About that.
All right.
Son-in-law was backing in the driveway, and I got a gravel driveway uphill.
Oh, so your mailbox is safe.
Mailbox is safe. Oh,
Yeah, I was just telling folks, what I've done during my life. I mean, and once you become a homeowner, you learn all kinds of things about plumbing and wiring and carpentry and things that you didn't ever think you needed to know, like how to properly hang a door.
yeah.
Dad's got some tricks to it right there.
Teaching
Uh,
your wife how to hang pictures.
I ain't touching that one. I'm already 67. I ain't gonna live that long. Uh,
No, Donna was using 20 penny nails to hang pictures.
without a stud finder, I am assuming.
Yeah, through plaster.
Well, that's a good way to make a hole for something else that'll grab onto the back of the plaster and keep the pictures for you. You know those little fish hook shaped picture hangers? Well, they're not
Yeah,
little, they're big.
yeah,
Those things work really, really well.
yeah, yeah. But the thing was, she would try to hang. Well, I asked her. I said, "Why did you use this now?" Well, it was a mirror, and it was one of these probably
Big, big mirrors.
yeah.
Yes.
She said, "I figure it would work." I said, "Yeah."
Till the
She
plastic
hung it,
gives way.
took a step back. There was a gash like that.
In the sheetrock.
Well, through the lath and the plaster before the nail got twisted. She did drive it at an angle. That was,
Well, yeah.
of course, my house is built with oak and poplar.
Paying
Yeah,
your dues. Yeah, Chris, you're right.
and the 2x4s in my house, if you put a tape measure on them, would be 2x4. It's rough cut lumber.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Well,
100 years old.
my dad's mother's house was built out of 18-inch wide chestnut boards. You know how long it's been since there's been anything like that available.
Yeah.
And once those age,
Turn into
they're not only bulletproof, you will break a skill saw blade trying to saw through them.
Oh, yeah.
They're tough.
Here in town, they were running the part of the freeway through, and they found a stand of old growth American chestnuts,
Untouched by the blight.
untouched by the blight.
Oh my God, that's like $1 million worth per tree there.
Problem was, there were a lot of saplings. They had, what are they called that use the trowel and the brush?
Uh, uh, um, Archaeologists.
Yeah. Pulling the trees up.
Hopefully, so they could be replanted.
Yes. They found budding chestnuts. They are now growing at an undisclosed location.
Better be.
But
I mean,
what was left had to come down because of the way the freeway was coming.
I'd put a curve in the freeway.
Hell yeah. And though they've actually those the nuts that were growing are now part of the American Chestnut Revival Society or whatever.
A recovery project or whatever they call it.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah. We've got 2, maybe 3 chestnut trees up on the old farm, but they're the skinny, spindly bush type ones that were the only ones to survive the blight.
Yeah. The Chinese chestnut.
Yeah.
They got prickly ball.
But no nuts.
Yeah. Those
Yeah, you walk on one of those, you know it. It's not like a sycamore ball.
no.
It's like walking on porcupines.
Now, we used to have the Chinese chestnut. We would come across them, and out of fun, we grab one by the little stem and toss it and say, "Hey, catch this!" And you see people see it coming, like, "Oh!"
Dodgeball.
Oh, I'm an asshole, Dan. I'm a true asshole. Have you ever seen thistle?
Yes.
Wild thistle grow?
Got plenty of them around here.
They smell beautiful.
Yes, they do.
They're about like that porcupine ball.
Uh-huh. They are. They got more spines than a rose bush.
Yeah.
A big rose bush.
I walked up my smell one day and went, "Oh, that is beautiful. Come here and smell this." Guy grabbed it and stuck his nose in it.
And
it's like,
pink.
I was expecting him to grab it and, ow! No, he grabbed it and stuck his nose in it and went and pulled it back and had little blood drops all over into his nose.
Uh
And
huh.
I'm like, tell somebody else about that. He goes, and called the other guy over. He's sitting there holding his nose. He says, "You got to smell this. I'm just trying to keep the smell in my nose. It's so beautiful." I'm like,
You
what?
thought you were evil. Yeah. Misery loves company. Uh,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah. No, we added a couple of rooms to Granny's house back when I was in high school. Indoor plumbing for the first time since before I was born. She had more than cold water. She had a water heater. She had a washer and dryer. She had a bathtub. She had a toilet. No more taking the chamber pot to the outhouse.
Did she know how to act?
She did an awful lot of laundry for a while. I mean, she had a washer out on the front porch. Had to hook a hose up to it to the outdoor spigot, and it had one of those ringers on it where Granny says, "Don't get your hands too close, or we'll have to go to the hospital.
Oh, yeah.
It'll rip your arm off." Um,
Hmm.
and boiling water in a tea kettle to take a stand-up bath in the back room. Um, just just before she passed away, this is several years after I got out of high school. Dad and I redid her kitchen for her. Brand new stove. Uh, Dad built cabinets, custom built. I didn't even know he knew how to be a cabinet maker, but he made custom cabinets from scratch for that kitchen. I mean, the cabinets were probably more costly than the entire house was worth.
Mm.
And then when she passed away, um, had rented it out to some cousins, family members, and um, after a while, it got a little creaky. Um, but then it was built about 1900.
Yeah. My grandfather redid my parents' kitchen, and we convinced him over the stove to build a shelf that we could put the microwave in. That was something that he'd never heard of before. Of course, the microwave that we originally put in there was, the one that took two guys to move.
Yeah,
So it's a well built.
it would have to be.
I was talking to Daddy about, redoing the cabinets and everything, and he goes, "You don't know how many times I've wanted to redo it." He goes, "But these were the last cabinets my dad ever built." I go, upset.
Yep. Now, Granny's kitchen was at one time the back porch of the house. It was not built with an awful lot of eye to whether or not it should be level.
Yeah.
So Dad had to make shims out of 2x4s to make the kitchen floor level.
Oh, yeah. When Papa built those cabinets, he didn't own a tape measure.
There are ways around that.
No.
Oh, the wooden ones. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was thinking a piece of string.
No. He that was his tape measure. Was he goes with one of these? I could build the world.
He's not wrong. I mean, it's a perfectly rational and reasonable substitute for a metal tape measure.
Have you priced one of those lately?
I am not in the business of buying antiques.
No, they still make them,
I know they still make them.
and they still use them.
Yeah, and they charge like they were 500 years old.
Pristine 500 years old.
Uh-huh. Kept in
But
a
they're
time
accurate.
capsule.
By God, they're accurate.
Yeah.
Oh, Dan, have you ever been bit with a T-model coil?
What?
The coil from a
Model T?
Model T?
No.
Change your life, I'll tell you.
Telephone crank, yes.
Yeah.
One of those wall-mounted telephones.
Yeah. No.
There was somebody that used those to catch fish.
Oh, yeah. No, I had this little box. It was part of my science fair project. I built a telegraph.
Mm-hmm.
Well, after that was done, that was a good box. So I had to make something else out of it. So I had an old Model T coil, a car flasher, and 2 6-volt batteries.
I can see where this is going.
I had 2 wires that poked up, and I called it the manly test.
If you can hold on to this, grasshopper.
I had a friend. He goes, okay. He was a tough old boy. He was an old. He grew up behind me, but he was a country boy. I said, okay, now you hold on. I'm gonna reach in. And I'm gonna turn this on. And I'll let me know when you can't take it no more. Because usually you let go first. I counted 5 clicks. He goes, whoa. He goes, 6 click. He's can you turn it off? I went, okay. He still had a hold of it. I said, what's wrong? He goes, every time that thing would click, it knocked the shit out of me, but I wasn't going to let go of these wires. I'm like, damn. You talk about it. Those things were only supposed to run on 6-volt, and I was running it on 12.
Yeah.
6-volt is probably dropping 40,000 volts out the end.
Yeah, but thankfully it wasn't that many amps. Why you ain't right. You just now figuring that out, Chris? You've known me longer than I have. Oh. No, that fella that used a old wall mount telephone crank
To fish.
He'd go out there, he'd throw 2 wires in the water. They'd be separated by a couple of feet at first, but they'd gradually drift a little bit closer. He'd just sit there and wind the crank and wind the crank and wind the crank till the fish started floating up like Crocodile Dundee using dynamite for fishing. The fish weren't dead. They were just, I believe the charitable term is in shock.
They were stunned at his brilliance.
Really? Oh, it's a wonder the game warden didn't come after him. But then again, game warden was probably afraid of him. You don't live up on the ridge and not have the game wardens go, I believe I'll go to the other lake today.
They drive by his house first to see if the boat's there.
You want to climb a mountain just to see the man's boats there? No, thank you. You just go to the lake and see whether or not his slip is empty.
Oh.
And some of those lakes are pretty big. The one for Norris Dam, that's huge. Norris Lake is it's skinny. It's got lots of little tributaries and creeks and whatnot off of it. Yeah.
Local meteorologist just reported air quality index is at 189
because of the smoke from the fires.
Yeah. I mean, this is down around where Chris is, where this thing's supposed to be going on.
Chris, you better get outside with a shovel and dig yourself a fire break, boy. Oh, what was that old tractor about the size of a lawnmower? Had all kinds of different implements you could put on it. A Gravely. You just stand on it and ride it like some of those new lawnmowers that the contractors use for.
I don't know, Dan, to be honest with you.
There was an old guy we rented land from. That was his tractor. And he could do things with that I did not think it was possible for something that small to have enough horsepower to do.
It was a shop master of tractors.
I do believe he had a supercharger on it. Is what I think. I suspect he's running nitrous in this thing.
I remember watching one of those videos about tractor pulls, and they pulled in that old. I want to say it was the International Harvester steam tractor.
Yeah.
I mean, it didn't go very fast. But Lord, it had the torque. And, they put it on, hooked it up to one of those tractor pull sleds. He started, and you could hear, and I mean, you could see the smokestack just pumping, the sparks and all that out the end of it. He's just going down the track, and he's just waving at people. This thing was all the way up to the end of the thing. It was like 80,000 pounds right on the back end of this thing. All the way out the other side. And they're, he's going, okay, you can see him spinning knobs and everything. This thing just kept on going.
It takes a long time. It takes a long time to slow one of them down once you get it up to speed.
It wasn't doing 10 miles an hour.
Yeah.
The wheels weren't even spinning. It's just, you got to blow off the steam.
Yeah.
Just pulls it out the other side like, damn.
Well, that's one reason why they have those big whistles on them, is to get rid of some of the excess steam and keep it from blowing up on you.
That's what he did. Then they actually took it and put 100-foot wide disc plow on the back of it.
Ooh, that's a big beast.
Yeah, I mean, they hook plow. there's like 20 guys on each side controlling the disc. And he's set the world's record for the widest plow. You know, damn thing plow an acre in 5 minutes.
Because it only took about 3 passes.
It was like, wow. They don't
Oh,
build them like that no more.
Daddy hired me out once, this little old lady that wanted her garden plowed. And he made me take the 12-foot wide chisel plow. That thing, if you retracted the wheels all the way up, those chisels would go 4.5 feet into the ground. So her garden had never been plowed that well before. So I went over there, I made 2 passes, and she says, "How much do I owe you?" And I go, "You'll have to talk to Daddy about that. I really don't want to charge anything for this, no more than I had to do. I mean, it was harder work driving it over here than it was dropping the plow and turning up the field. Of course, your grandsons are going to hate me for all the rocks they're going to have to pick up, because some of those have been buried since dinosaurs roamed the earth."
Now the chisel plow, that's the one that's just the straight bar down, right?
Just a straight bar down, and it's got
Like a loop at the top.
Yeah, it's built like a spring, basically, or yeah, like a hook-shaped spring, and it's got little bitty narrow plowshares on it. And it's basically it's designed to go deep and pull up anything you run across, as long as your tractor can pull it up. The ones that turn over furrows, that's called a bottom plow. And then disc harrow is supposed to smooth it all out, but you got to pick up all the rocks first, so you don't have to spend half a day beating rocks out from in between the discs.
Yeah.
I know. we have one of those socket handles kept in the tractor. It was one of the big socket handles too. By the time we had used that thing to break up dirt clods and beat rocks out from between the discs on the harrow, it looked like somebody had taken one of those angle grinders and just decided to carve notches in it everywhere.
Now, was your dump truck dual wheel? Not tandem, but 2 wheels?
Yeah, it was. It was a 18-foot long bed. It was a Chevy, 300 horsepower, and the dump was hydraulically controlled. It would get about, when we bought it, it'd get about 8 miles a gallon of gas. And Daddy had it, he took it to a shop, and they managed to get it up to 12, and on a highway 14.
Did you ever get a rock hung between the wheels?
No, but I did get it stuck a time or two.
I got a piece of rock like this stuck between the wheels of my truck. We carried a 4-pound sledgehammer.
Yeah.
Because, it's just, they're usually just limestone. Hit them just right, they'll pop. I got one stuck in there so bad we had to call the tire shop out. Had to jack it up, loosen the lug nuts, and it just fell right out. Zipped it back up and said, "Don't you ever do that again."
Now, where we were growing soybeans, there was often little soft spots around the edges of the field, and Dad'd be out there with the combine getting the soybeans, and he'd have me park, but he wouldn't tell me exactly where. And quite often I had to get Dad to pull me out of the mud with the combine. I did not believe that damn thing would be that strong, but it would pull out a truck.
Oh yeah,
with a full load of soybeans in the bed.
I love watching those videos of these guys. Hey, can you come over here and get me unstuck? All right.
Yeah.
Drive around through the mud.
It's like a tank with no armor or guns, but there's no way to stop it. All right. Well, we were just about out of time here, and I will, since I've already run through my ads, I won't bore anybody with those again. I'll play the one for Aphelion. It's only 37 seconds. So, and then we will tell the bedtime story and have a good night.
All right. Well, I'm going to jump on out of here.
All right. Thank you for being here, Joe.
All right. I didn't want you to waste your show slot.
Believe me, there's been fewer and fewer people willing to stay up this late. I guess we're all just getting old.
That too. All right. I will holler at y'all later, and possibly starting in May, we may start doing a little Monday night Hallowcon show. So we'll holler at all y'all later, and have a good one.
Good night, everybody. Thank you for being here.
Right.
Like, share, and subscribe if you know what it is.
Yeah. All right. We'll holler at all y'all. I'm out of here. Bye.
Bye-bye. Hello, I'm Dan Hollifield. I'm the senior editor and publisher of Aphelion Webzine, the world's oldest free creative writing e-zine since 1997. Since then, we have helped over 500 amateur writers learn what they needed to turn pro. www.aphelion-webzine.com and read not only what we've got going on right now, but 28 years worth of our archives of stories. Thank you very much.
Transmission overload.
System will shut down. System will shut down. System will shut down. System will shut down.